On this edition of Dimp Digital Unplugged, Abs is joined by Logan and Paper as they discuss the PlayStation Plus price hike.
Is this big dick Sony just flexing their muscles, saying, look, we can do this now that we're the leader, people aren't going to turn their backs on us, you pay up, like Logan just said, he's going to swallow it, and I'm going to swallow it, we're all probably going to swallow it. Is that, do you think, perhaps what Sony are thinking? Why not get an extra load of million UK pounds and euros out of people by just bump up the price by 25%?
They pass judgment on the Overwatch League players' benefits.
I want to make sure that post these players getting dropped, that they are sort of looked after a bit. I'm not saying money for them, but just make sure that there's some sort of like counselling and just make sure that they can hit the real world, basically.
It's not fucking Alcoholics Anonymous. Jesus, you get sacked to find another job.
And give their views on the Nintendo Switch.
I think in a similar way that you both sit there and go, I'm not massively drawn to it all the time. I think I've got the same problem in that if I wanted to go and get one right now, not to brag, I could go and get one. There's nothing stopping me other than the fact to go, well, is there that draw there? Is that that game there that I actually really want to sit there and play?
All that and much, much more on Dimp Digital Unplugged.
Hello and welcome to session 0 of Dimp Digital Unplugged. This time you've got myself, Apps, Logan and Mr. Piper. Gents, how are we doing?
Yep, good to be back.
Excellent.
Yeah, actually back number 1 in the first episode.
Yeah, I'll be honest, you wasn't first choice, but other people were busy. But you were second choice, so you take what you can out of that. It's fine. This session 0, as I've dubbed it, is almost an experimental show. This may never surface again, but the basic premise is that once a month we will scramble together a team to discuss what we've been playing, ideally, if anyone has been playing anything, and what's been going on in the industry, because a lot of our content lately has been game or product focused, and we haven't done much industry commentary. So this is just us dipping our toes back into that space and seeing what happens. So first thing on the menu on this particular episode or session is what have we been playing. And Mr. Piper, I know that you've been very keen to spread the good vibes of Guild Wars 2, and you've been back playing that almost 18 months on from when we first started.
Probably about 2 years, actually.
Is it over to, well, that's...
Over 2 years now, yeah. It's probably about my 4th toe dipped in. Yeah. What I'm trying to do is complete the story. I feel, you know, like with any game, it's like, not with any game, I'm not one to always complete stories, but I really enjoy the lore of Guild Wars. So I just want to get to the point where I've sort of up to date with the story. But as today, we're recording this, they've just announced expansion for Guild Wars 2, the second expansion in the series, which will give us another story worth of, and probably about another 20 hours worth of content of story, and some other things like mounts for the first time and specialized elites and stuff like that with your character. And so there's going to be lots, and that's coming out on the 22nd of September, I believe now. So lots of Guild Wars stuff to keep me happy for probably for the rest of the year now. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of Guild Wars recently, but that's not the only thing I've been playing as well. I'm not stuck in the past. I'm playing because I've got the Nintendo. I'm also playing Splatoon 2. That a bit.
Excellent.
It's a really good game. The problem with Nintendo, they need to improve the multiplayer system.
Right.
Played it together, and it wouldn't allow us to be on the same team. I don't know whether we probably did. We're not the most trustworthy people in the world, but it is a good game, and the campaign mode on it is pretty good fun, and I've been doing a lot of that. So yeah, I've been playing this, that, and everything, and obviously the other big sort of news sort of game that a lot of us probably dipped our toe in over the last month was the Destiny 2 beta. So yeah, across all consoles at the moment and computers.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing a bit of Splatoon 2 as well, and I like what they've done with it. I like the fact that there is multiplayer there if you want it. There is a campaign there if you want it, and there's also Salmon Run, which is just like a cooperative mode that you can use. Although that is, again, keeping in line with Nintendo's strange online policies. That's only available at set times during the day. Granted, every time I've gone to play it, it's been open, but I know one day we'll all get together and go, let's go and do that, and we won't be able to because it'll be in its downtime. I don't know what that's all about. The party system, yeah, that's strange that you just kind of get dumped into random teams each time, so you're not necessarily playing together. But I was saying to Logan yesterday when he was driving back from watching a film that I don't necessarily mind it too much because the turnaround of playing a multiplayer game is really quick. It's 3 minutes long, and then you're out. You say, do you want to carry on going, and then you're back in within 20 seconds again. So it's not like you're playing a long drawn out strategic game where you need to communicate effectively with your team. You can pretty much just get on with what you want to do in there and start painting the turf. Looking at what else I've been playing, I've completed Zelda, so that's done, booked off, reviews up. Dishonored 2 I've recently completed as well, much tougher than the original, or that I remember the original being, but Biff played the original and has played 2. He says he agrees with me that it seems a lot tougher. So much so that he put the difficulty up because he's like, I want to challenge myself. I want to make sure that I'm getting the most out of the game. He had to put it down after about an hour, so he could manage to do that. And then in the end, it's got so hard for him just on normal that he's puffed it. he ain't completing it. He said he's done. It's too hard for him. So it was a tough game, but you get into a groove, after about 40% through, I think, and then I started getting better at it, and I was doing quite well. But great game if you like the first one. Logan, let's move on to you because we were discussing yesterday how you're going through a little bit of a gaming blues. There's not a lot going on, not a lot interesting you, and you're struggling to find motivation to get involved.
I've started rotting. That's the trouble.
What's rotting mean in this case, in this context?
Just sitting on one game, rotting away on it, not really doing anything else, not being productive.
What is this game?
Rocket League.
Right.
It's a waste of life, and I know that. I don't know why I'm doing it. I can't tell you. I was just thinking to myself, what's on the menu, and I was just like, absolutely nothing. It is just barren lands.
It is a tough time of year, to be honest, over the summer. There's not usually a great deal.
I think I've just been lazy.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely. That is the cause of that.
I've got stuff to do, or that I want to do.
Ukulele sitting there. You're waiting ages for that.
Got what?
Ukulele sitting there.
Yeah, I've done the first world and then got on to the second and not really moved on with it. But I said to you last night, that for me was always a side project. It wasn't something I wanted to just do and get done and then bin it. So I think the problem is I haven't had a main focus. There was a lot of... I seem to go through binges. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
We had a Destiny binge, which then turned into, when that was done, an Overwatch binge.
Yeah.
Which now that's kind of done with, it's turned into a Rocket League binge, and then I think this is coming to the end of that cycle.
Destiny 2, mate.
It's not far
Well,
away.
that's another subject, but I'm not sitting here waiting for it, put it that way.
He's fatigued himself.
For me, that has come too soon after I've dealt with you pissed up doing that fucking last raid. I can't be doing that again so soon. That's what it boils down to.
So is there anything else on the horizon, perhaps maybe not a multiplayer game that you think you can get sunk into? We know that the Uncharted expansion or standalone's coming out later in August. Does that ring any bells, considering that you enjoyed the full game or the parent game so much?
Yeah, I am sniffing after that. It wasn't really originally on my radar. I sort of thought, well, I'm not really that interested in that because obviously it was meant to be DLC and now it's a standalone. And I think I need something like that to focus my mind. I need something just to sit there that I can play quite easily, make progress on and do and complete.
Yeah.
I feel like that will restore the focus. But saying that, I popped round Halls earlier and had a little look at that free game. That looks like could be...
What one?
That fucking blob one.
What's it called?
I can't remember. I cannot remember. It's
something slime monsters or some shit. I know what it is. I just don't know how that's getting looked in or looked at.
It just looks like it's just an easy game to play. But I've downloaded that, so I'm gonna have a look at it.
That's
I'll tell you what might get a play.
That is rot material. That is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what might get a play though. Just Cause 3.
Well, yeah, that's landed on the old PlayStation Plus freebies for August. So yeah. I think that's...
So that could be a good little one to have a little mess around on, maybe get a little bit of multiplayer or something going. So that could be interesting. But yeah, other than that, it's the standard Football Manager still sort of as it's. I pull that out every now and again, I suppose. And I've just been rotting on the console.
No multiplayer on Just Cause 3, so just.
Is there not?
Nah, single player for that.
What was that shit that they used to do on the PC then?
That was Just Cause 2, it was a mod, yeah. So
what? They haven't done anything for free?
They were not even going to revive that franchise until that mod come along. They went, right, people are interested, let's chuck this out and see what happens.
So the bit that people did want, probably i.e. the multiplayer, they went, nah.
Nah, it's not there.
None of that.
Unless you get it on PC, there might be a Just Cause 3 mod. I don't know anymore.
This laptop ain't dealing with that, is it?
No. Well, speaking of Just Cause 3, that is the PlayStation Plus monthly free game for August, or one of them. But Sony have come along and they're going to increase the price of PlayStation Plus by 25% across all of Europe. The upshot of that for us is that from the 31st of August, you will now need to shell out $49.99 for the annual subscription. Previously, it was $39.99. Quarterly price goes up to $14.99. Goes from $14.99, to $19.99. Monthly goes from £5.99 to $6.99. Firstly, I don't think I've ever paid full price for a PlayStation Plus or Xbox Gold. I'm always topping up on these deals that appear on Amazon or CD Key, something along those lines. But that's not the point, because one could, I guess, reasonably assume that the places that I'll get these from now, and they're cheaper, will have their price bumped up by a certain percentage. So we're all getting impacted eventually, no matter what way you do it, unless you stack up now and just never pay again for 10 years. But there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on. First off, Logan, what is your gut reaction to this? Is there any alternate universe where you can see this being good news?
It's not ideal, is it? Whatever way you look at it, for me and you, it probably is going to result in increased prices.
Yeah.
But what I would say is, if I'm going to get good PS Plus games every month, and by good I mean Just Cause 3 lurking and things like that, like big release titles, then I wouldn't be too fussed.
Yeah. But they're selling a promise then, aren't they? That hasn't been actually... There's no promise of that. That's the trouble.
The thing is,
it's an idea that we've created.
One or two good games a year, maybe.
Yeah.
It is that slim. So, unless it ramps it up. But ultimately, there's not a lot you can do about it, and they know that. Yeah. So, you just got to suck it up and deal with it. And look, if worst case scenario... What's it going up, like £10?
Yeah, if you buy it in a yearly one, it's £10 increase.
So I'll just take it on the chin and go, right, well, that's another tenner gone.
Yeah, that's another tenner down the shitter. Piper, we know that that Sony are like the console. They've got the console market share on lockdown. Is this big dick Sony just flexing their muscles, saying, look, we can do this now that we're the leader? People aren't going to turn their backs on us. You pay up, like Logan just said, he's going to swallow it, and I'm going to swallow it. We're all probably going to swallow it. Is that, do you think, perhaps what Sony are thinking? Why not get an extra load of million UK pounds and euros out of people by just bump up the price by 25%?
I agree agree, and to some extent I disagree. So I do think they're obviously flexing muscle. They know they're in a position where they can make this hike, and people like us will just take it on the chin. Like for us, like at the stage we are probably with our lives, it's probably not a big deal. If you're a kid and you're on your pocket, then I understand it's a lot bigger deal. And there's a lot of people out there that are probably not on the highest wage, and it probably is a tenner is a big deal for them. So yeah, I completely get that from their point of view. It's going to be frustrating. However, my assumption is companies don't make this decision just to screw over people and just to try and help them line. There's usually motive and reason behind it to make this change, and they would have looked at other changes to make more money and stuff like that. So my only hope is it can be like Logan said, with better game content. You only have to look last year when the US got a couple of releases that they didn't actually get released in Europe. You got to think if they can afford it in Europe that year, and they were better games. Yeah. So maybe it's going to just mean that it pulls us in line to make sure we get everything that the States get. Maybe they after that happened, they looked at it and thought, is that the right move? Maybe if we charge people a bit more, we can keep that in line and so forth. So, don't know. I guess time's going to be the one that tells us. It would be good to understand from the hike point what games came over the next 12 months compared to the previous 12 months games for PlayStation. There's been an improvement.
Yeah. Logan, do you think this will make the Xbox brand a little bit more appealing to gamers at $39.99 for games with gold?
I'd be surprised.
Well,
because it probably won't be long until Microsoft follow suit, because they'll go hang about.
But they're already under the cosh. If you look at it in that way, they're under the cosh. You know, they need to be pro gamer. So why not go, well, we're not going to move ours up. We don't need to. We can still provide you with the same quality titles without taking an extra tenner off your table and saying, we'll have that, thank you very much. We're the good guys. And it's Big Phil saying that, not me.
Put it this way.
He hasn't said that, but I imagine he will.
The way that I see this, right, it's when they go season ticket prices or a ticket price for a football match. They go, we're going to put it up £5 per person per game. The actual amount of revenue they get from that is so slim. You go, why are you bothering? They're making so much money. I'd be surprised if an extra 25% they're going to go, right, the sole reason we want to do this is because we want to get them more games. Well, Sony are fucking minted.
Yeah, but what do they want? They want more money. Why not? Why would you not have more money? And I'll get the comparison to a football game, but you're dealing with, say, if we look at Southend, for example, 5,000 season ticket holders if they're lucky. We're talking about there's 50 odd million PlayStation 4 consoles out worldwide, so not just in Europe, but a fair chunk of those will be sitting in the European regions, and you'd think the majority of those will have PlayStation Plus because the online gaming piece. I wouldn't necessarily say a lot of people go, oh, I want the free games out of that. It's so you can play online with your mates. So they'll make undoubtedly a tidy profit out of this, I think.
Yeah.
Would any of the following and we've touched on one of them, but I'll ask both of you this. So Logan, you can go first and then Piper afterwards. But would any of the following justify the £10 price increase? So we've touched upon it, a better quality of free monthly games for PlayStation Plus. So, like I said, we know Just Cause 3 is coming this month. That's probably one of the highest profile games they've had certainly in the last 6 to maybe 12 months. But would that, you think, well, I've swallowed an extra tenner, but I'm actually getting better games out of it. Is that something that you would be, that would be interesting to you, Logan? I know you pretty much already said you would, to be fair.
It softens a blow. There's not a lot. The service is already pretty reliable. I mean, it's 99.99% of the time it's there.
Yeah.
It does what it needs to. I've got no complaints about what's going on with it. So
what about, right, I'll take issue with that. What about this preparing to download update crap that we all have to sit through when there's a game update?
I don't be understanding that. I don't. I don't know why it takes longer to prepare than it does to down. I think it's just getting confused with what it's downloading and what it's preparing.
Because we've sat there for what, half an hour waiting for a game or game update to prepare to download, and the actual update is 500 meg. So you say they couldn't improve on their network or they'd make it more reliable. That is one area they definitely could.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. Piper, going back to the monthly free games, would that soften the blow for you, or would you be happy if they started going Just Cause free and then perhaps another high-profile game next year, and they go, yep, this is what you're £10 paying for?
Yeah, 2 AAA games a year covers it, in my opinion. Just Cause free, and that's what, a year and a half old. So they released something like Mad Max, not selling anymore. Like they've done it for 12 months, in my opinion. They've given people, I think, the value. I don't think the value's really, to be honest, on PlayStation has been there. There's not been a PlayStation Plus game that's come out pretty well until recently. There's been a couple of decent ones recently in the last few months. They probably knew about the hike, so they probably were preparing like games.
Yeah, put your best foot forward, so when the bad news comes, just go, hang on, we've been doing this.
They've been on the bloody Rocket League ride wave. They knew that they gave away Rocket League, and that was like everyone couldn't believe they got it for free.
Yeah, they've been riding that wave a long, long time. Okay, so that would help. What about, and this goes to you, Logan, first, Sony's streaming service, which is PlayStation Now, that lets you play PS3 games and some PS4 games without downloading it. You can stream it straight to your console. That's currently at £12.99 a month. But what if that was bundled in with PlayStation Plus?
Oh yeah, you take the title, didn't you?
Yeah, I don't know who's signing up for that PlayStation Now at that price, because we'll get into some of the on-demand stuff a little bit later on. But that at £12.99 a month, that is absurd.
EA Access, I keep saying it, but EA Access have got it spot on.
Yeah. So I think that could be one they could get rid of. Pipe, maybe you wouldn't perhaps use PlayStation Now, but it'd be another little string to the bow, wouldn't it?
Yeah, as I said, things like that just help the cause to bump the price.
Yeah, the trouble is they've not said any of this. They've not said it's going to increase the quality in this section. They've not said, like, they've just said we're going to hike the price and not really given any rationale behind it. And I think that's where the frustration has lied for a lot of people, is that they've not even come out and just said, look, we need more revenue, or just like been blunt. They've just said, oh, it's happening, here's the email, and not even put a rationale behind it. I think that's where people get more annoyed. It's like, okay, you're taking another tenner a year off me. I can take that, but I just want to know what you're going to do with that, why it's happening. Was the current system not sustainable, that sort of thing. But
I think, to be honest, like, if it was me, if I was Sony, my rationale behind it would be, we want to keep delivering new PlayStation players more exclusives, which they do very well at the moment.
Yeah.
And like, to be honest, exclusives cost money. Sony have to pay Bungie a lot of money to have all those exclusives that they're currently getting for Destiny 2. And if they just say something like that, like, we want to consistently keep delivering you more exclusives across more games, stuff like that. One, that's giving you a better experience on the PlayStation across multiple games, and you're getting stuff that you think, well, I'm happy to pay that because Xbox.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, actually. Again, it comes down to communication. They've not done it again.
They won't be committing.
No, that's true.
What they do is they'll
People
go,
be
we'll
tracking
give you more
it.
exclusives, and
every internet
nothing
nerd will
comes
track
out,
it
and they go, "Wow."
They'll go, look, my spreadsheet said you did this before, and this is what you're doing afterwards. It doesn't add up the value, so they'll be like, oh, bloody hell, shut up. We have, in our own way. Logan, do you think we'll see any of that we mentioned earlier? Perhaps, less preparing to download, perhaps the streaming service, or perhaps a subjective, better quality of freebies each month? Do you think we'll see any of the above, or do you think it'll happen? People will moan when it happens again at the end of August, and then we'll all get on with it and won't look back?
The way I'd be seeing it is that 10 years ago I was paying £35 a year for Xbox. 10 years later, times are changing, things cost more, inflation, all that jazz. £50 a year ain't going to break my bank, so I'm not going to sit here and cry about it. Obviously, I'd rather. I just employ the Pirates of the Caribbean philosophy of take what you can, give nothing back. I'll buy that in as many walks of life as possible. So, in an ideal world, I don't want to be paying what I don't have to be paying, but I'm sure I'll get it cheaper than what they've advertised it. I'm with you. I never pay full whack anyway, so if I have to pay £40 a year now, then, well, it's exactly the same as what was happening. But I suspect they've just looked at the profitability of it and they try and keep a margin, and for whatever reason, they've had to up it.
Yeah. You know what's quite interesting is it's not actually going to hit the whole community all at once. It's going to hit across the whole year. So it's like you're not going to blast of everyone going, "Oh, this is crazy." Yeah. Like, it's not going to hit me until January. So like, till that point, it doesn't impact me, and it hits me in January. And by that time, it's 6 months down the line. I'm like, well, we're stuck with this now. There's no point in me screaming and kicking off a fuss about it.
No, yeah, Shoot, mine I think runs out in 2019. So I'm sitting here moaning about it, but it ain't going to be impacting me for a while. All we'll say is between now and then, get those deals on those cheapies, get a few years if you can afford it, and then you haven't got to worry about it for a long, long time. It must be a very difficult revenue stream to keep track of, because they just probably get it in waves of people just stacking up years. I don't think many people go month to month, although I heard a rumour that's what Adkins is doing. He's paying the £5.99 a month on auto renew. You think, what are you doing there? Should be making cutbacks, but we'll see. Like I said, you're right. It won't be affecting people all on the 31st of August. It will be spread out from whenever it's time for you to renew. Now, there are plenty of these on-demand Netflix-style services for gaming now. We've mentioned PlayStation Plus and Games with Gold and PlayStation Now, but we've also got Xbox Game Pass, which is one of the newer ones that's come, and then EA Access or Origin Access if you're on the PC. I'm going to refer to it as EA Access from here on out. Mr. Paper, what do you make of these services? Are they perhaps the future of how some people might want to consume their games?
I completely believe it will be the future. You only have to look at things like Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime to realise that we're turning into a consumer society that wants things literally as you go. You don't want to have to sit there waiting to download something. You just want to turn it on and play it when it gets released, when it comes straight out and stuff like that. And games are just going to follow that same route. And it makes perfect sense to me. I think at the moment where we're going a little bit wrong, not on all of them, but some of them, is this whole we're using it for backwards compatibility.
Right.
I don't think that's the future. The future is Destiny 2 released. You are paying £100 a year, and Destiny 2 is a part
bundle.
Is in that release, along with Just Cause 4 if there is just that coming out or whatever.
Yeah.
Coming out, and you're paying for a service. What we don't want to do, probably, and you hope you would imagine it would be PlayStation and Xbox and stuff like that. But what you don't want to do is these streaming services to become by developer, for example. So you have to buy a Rockstar one, a Bungie one, and so a bit like, so you got like Netflix, Amazon Prime at the moment, Now TV, and all that stuff on the television. You don't really want it to be spread out. You don't probably mind per console, but if it's going to go that far down further on, that's going to be probably a bit more hard to take. But yeah, it's definitely the future, and it's going to be all the new releases. I think within the next 5 years, I think that's probably where we'll be.
Yeah. Okay, Logan, you've got EA Access, and I've activated it today. So you've got first-hand experience. You've used this. You've downloaded the games. Would you say that for the price, it's good value? And looking at some of the others that you've probably seen flashing up on the store, do you believe that this one's the best on the market?
Yeah, I think the value's phenomenal. I always say if you play one game a month, you've easily paid yourself off. Even if you're paying it monthly, it's mental. £4 a month, and they're all big titles basically. It's fantastic. Get doing it.
Yeah, well, we've seen Titanfall 2 land today even, or maybe the day before this recording, but that's less than a year old. They've already promised Battlefield 1, which is one of their biggest games of that period. Whenever they release it every couple of years, that's like one of their go-to franchise, and that's coming less than a year after release. FIFA 17, okay, that gets old as the year goes on, but that was still, I still played a bit of that, and you could play it on the EA Access before the season finished, so you could go through it and play that. So I think they're doing it in a good way, not only for the price, but also the time period of when the game's released up until when it lands. Because if it landed in 2 years' time, you'd perhaps say, well, that's not worth it. But the fact they're cycling them in under a year, I fully expect Mass Effect Andromeda to land at some point, perhaps in the next 6 months. So another big game that they can dump on there. Just for the records, so you've got EA Access, which is either £4 a month or $19.99 a year. Xbox Game Pass, which is £7.99 a month. Very, very similar to EA Access, and that's the sort of one you were talking about, Pipe. That's the model where it's not just EA stuff. In fact, it has no EA stuff. They're excluded, but it has games from other publishers there. PlayStation Now, which is like a streaming equivalent, $12.99 a month. And then if you want to include Xbox Gold, we know that's $39.99, and PlayStation Plus is going to be 50 UK pounds. Mr. Paper, would subscribing to one of these services, or even having perhaps PlayStation Plus, does this ever put you off making a game purchase? I.e., you see a game come out, you identify it and think, you know what, if I hold off a little while, I think that'll land in my freebies for the month. Do you think that could actually cause a little bit of damage on that front in terms of like a business model?
Yes and no. I think it's
the scrambler.
If I want to play a game, I will buy it now. If there's a game there that I'll be like, that looks interesting, but I don't need to go and play it straight away, I would wait. And especially now, EA games are starting to come to the EA Pass and stuff like that. It's just proving that that's the way it's going. And as I said, the way that these companies will counteract that is that they will go live to these passes straight away. And there you might have to pay, I don't know, like have a premium pass and like the normal pass, for example, and the premium pass, the games that are coming out like on release day and stuff like that. They'll have some sort of models around it. As I said, my only worry is if EA's got their own and Xbox has not allowed it, they'll start their own because they're big, and then other companies who are scrambling together to get a pass together, and then you're going to be sort of very fragmented, and people are going to have to potentially have a lot of subscriptions to be able to play anything. But who knows? It's going to be interesting over the next 5 years of the way it goes, I think.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, it is tough. I floated the idea earlier in the Dimp group about if Call of Duty, there was an Activision pass, for example, and perhaps on there you got some of their games that they release throughout the year, but every year you got the last year's Call of Duty, whether people would be interested in that, and it seemed like people would. So, but I think, I don't know, I think it's going to be tough to try and get all these publishers to get their heads together and say, look, let's create a bundle pass here with, I don't know, Rockstar and Activision, two of perhaps or Take-Two even, go that far, two of the big players, and get them to like share the profits or want to do that. I think it will go down the route of you'll have an Activision pass and it'll be priced hopefully reasonably for people, and then people that enjoy those games, that enjoy Call of Duty or enjoy, even Crash Bandicoot, that's come under it, will get those games. I just can't see a world where they're all working together because they're so fragmented as it is. But it should...
Honest, if you have one of these games, if you say you wanted to buy an EA pass, I'd happily pay, say, £40 a year for an EA pass, happily pay, say, £40 a year for a Ubisoft pass and stuff like that, knowing for a fact that that's the price roughly of one game. So therefore, if one new game comes to that's new out that I want to play, I'm basically paying full price for that one game, and then the other stuff. That's the way I would justify it to myself.
Dreamworld, mate.
Well, it's $19.99 at the moment, so they're getting a price hike of 100% now.
Yeah, but they're charging £55 for brand new releases to download. Why are they going to give it away?
Well, they might. You don't know. We don't know where.
Giving it away.
We
no chance.
Well, we'll have to see. I think there always will be a delay on it, unless you pay like a surcharge. You know, Assassin's Creed comes out, you've paid £20 a year, but to unlock that on day one, you pay another £20. I don't know, something like that maybe. But we could see it. I don't know if it any way whether it reduces any sort of costs there. It should be noted actually with EA Access. Obviously, Origin Access is PC only, but EA Access is only on Xbox One. So PlayStation players once again cut out, left in the cold by Yoshida. The anti-consumers they're being known as on this particular session of Unplugged. It's completely changed gears now. I've picked up, and this is probably not a recent thing, but it's something that I've noticed happen coming up for this kind of autumn time and the end of summer. A trend that I think's quite positive, and it's to do with expansions or DLC or spin-offs being released standalone. So what I mean by that is that you don't have to own the parent game to opt in and play these kind of smaller sub missions or full-blown stories, whatever they may be. Examples coming up are Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. So that's getting its own retail release, and that has initially started as a story expansion for Uncharted 4. But if you don't have Uncharted 4, you can go out and get The Lost Legacy. And one that surprised me a little bit was Dishonored going with the Death of the Outsider. That's getting a standalone release. So again, you don't have to have had or played Dishonored 2 to access that. It's not the case of all games. Deus Ex Mankind Divided has released a fairly meaty expansion, which is totally tied to having the game. So you've got to have the main game, and then within the menu unlock it. But Logan, from a potential consumer perspective, so you as someone who's got the gaming blues, and you're thinking, oh, what do I want to play next? Do you think this is a good way of doing this? Because you've traded Uncharted 4, foolishly might I add, but you're now not locked out of opting into the Lost Legacy. You can pick this up and want to get involved if you want to.
It's sort of a double-edged blade, really. Because for me, it's good because I traded Uncharted in pretty quickly after I'd completed it.
I don't know what you were doing.
Well, the brain said it ain't getting much of a look in, and it, to be fair, didn't. So I thought I'll still get a good price for it while I can, and I did. But obviously, under the traditional model, I wouldn't be able to be playing this DLC. No. So from a selfish point of view, I can trade that game in pretty quickly and then get the DLC and play that through and still not be money down. Yeah. However, DLC historically has probably been a bit cheaper than probably what they're looking at releasing the DLC for now. Sure. So some people are getting stung by it because people like you who've kept it, if you've still got the original game, you could probably get the DLC for 12 to 15 quid maybe 18 tops.
I think what they did is Uncharted eventually removed the option to upgrade, and I think it was under £20 at some point. So 25 is around the cheapest I've sort of seen as the general consensus. So there is a slight monetary loss probably there of me looking at that. However, I look at it on the other side is that once I'm done with the Lost Legacy, I could trade that and get some of that back anyway. If I bought the season pass, I wouldn't have had to do that.
That's true. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good idea. The trouble is you only see it with those single player games, I think. Yeah. For example, Call of Duty, I'm never going to be able to trade those map packs in.
No. Get me that zombie mode on its own. I'm getting that.
Should be like like classic.
Just on its own. Just on it, whatever. Just stick that out on its own. 30 quid. Maybe not 30 quid, but don't do that. But 25, I'll go, all right, I'll go on that.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Harmless fun. Paper, you're the businessman, supposedly, so you get to put that cap on now, just for a minute. Can you think of why a publisher might greenlight this approach rather than bundling it into the traditional model of season pass where you don't get it?
Yeah, it's pure. You get a wider audience, and it's as simple as that. Yep. Like, I would imagine, for example, especially a game like Uncharted, which once you've done the story and the multiplayer on it isn't really something that probably a lot of people would have bought. I would say 75% of people probably bought it purely to play the single player mode, and then after that sold it, gave it away, whatever. And
Giving it away.
Well, some people know humanitarians.
I might have to give Dishonored 2 away because I paid a tenner for it and game was touting £2 for trading. I was like, well, hang on, what's going on there? That's not worth two. It's not worth the petrol, the £2. So I might have to give that away.
Give it.
Anyway, sorry, go on.
Yeah, it just it opens up the audience. Suddenly you say you had 4 million people play the game, playing 3 million people have sold it since. If you're tied into that game, you're saying that the 4 million people that have probably played it before, 1 million you find you can go and get it. The other 3 million you've got to go and buy the game again, which I would imagine not a lot of them will do.
No.
The DLC was literally, everyone was like, it's amazing, which you very rarely find in DLC, and so lots of people don't go out and buy it. So by that, you suddenly open the door once again to that 4 million people that played it already. Equally, the millions of people out there that have never played Uncharted and think, oh, this might be a good chance for me to try an Uncharted game as it first comes out, and it's a lot cheaper. If I'm a parent and I want to buy my kid a game for their birthday or Christmas, I'll see Uncharted just as it's been bought, as coming out, and I'll be like, oh, that's a nice cheap game, I'll get them that. So from a business point of view, they will make a lot more money off it from being standalone, being tied into the whole game.
Yeah, the only thing I'd err on the side of caution with, if I was a publisher or a developer, is that as soon as it becomes standalone, and really this is more so, as soon as it becomes a retail release, i.e. it's a boxed item, the expectations of the quality and the length of that game, based on how you price it, obviously, if you price it low, you won't have this problem, but most generally will chart around the £30 or £25 mark. There are expectations that come with that, and you've got to meet those expectations. You don't want people picking this up and going, oh, Lost Legacy, paid £25 for it, didn't get much out of it, wasn't very good, felt like DLC, not a full retail release, because they've changed how they're marketing now, haven't they? They're now saying it's on its own, it's in a box, so when you pick up a box, there is a certain bit of quality you expect to come out of that.
An interesting question then is, so what are you expecting from this?
Well, I'm expecting about half the size of Uncharted 4 story campaign, essentially. The beauty with Uncharted: The Lost Legacy is that they're actually bundling in the multiplayer mode. So all the multiplayer that was present in Uncharted 4 is on this disc or on this download, however you decide to purchase it. So actually, it's got a lot more legs than any other, typical standalone DLC. But I kind of, based on what I've read, it seems to be falling into what I would expect. I think they've just about got it right here. Dishonored, on the other hand, The Death of the Outsider, I don't know about that one. That one it's a tricky one to gauge how much they're going to put into that and what I would expect. But I still do think that putting it in a box and retailing it as a separate thing does constitute or adds an added pressure to it. And if they can deliver, that's fine, but we know about expectations and delivery not always being quite in line with gaming.
You know what? I think this is a really good move for gaming in general, because hopefully it will help companies realise they do not need to regurgitate franchises every year like Assassin's Creed. They can release a smaller version as like a semi DLC, and people will be happy with it, and they don't have to charge full whack. And then it gives these companies a couple of years to pull something out, something new and innovative. So yeah, hopefully it's a good move overall, and a lot of other companies will take note and think, you know what, we don't need to throw a new COD out there next year. We can do a sort of smaller semi standalone game, which might work better. Who knows?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Let's change gears once again. Overwatch League players will earn at least $50,000 a year. That's the headline. And I'm going to take a paragraph from Engadget.com, which is the best place to get up-to-date gaming and technology news. Visit Engadget.com for more. That's not an official sponsor. I just wanted to show others what they could have if they wanted to pay us. So if you want that sort of plug mid-session, send us an email and we'll
No
put it
one's
on.
getting this far. We need to put it at the beginning.
Yeah, that's probably right. But it just sort of went nicely with this segment. Need to sacrifice creative brilliance for just grunt revenue, I guess. So this is all from Engadget.com. Activision Blizzard is taking Overwatch esports seriously. The Overwatch League begins next year and completely transforms the face of professional play, tying teams to specific cities around the world and establishing a baseline of player protections, including minimum salaries and benefits. Players in the Overwatch League will earn at least $50,000 a year and be guaranteed a year-long contract with their signing team. Plus, organisations are required to provide them with health insurance and a retirement savings plan for each player, and at least 50% of all bonuses the team earns in tournaments and events will be distributed directly to the players. And just to put that in perspective, the teams will be vying for a bonus pool in the first season of $3.5 million, and the year's champions will be taking home $1 million. Logan, you always said that you were going to go pro at Overwatch. Surely this is now the motivation for that.
Well, it might be coming sooner than everyone expects. Looking for a career change and all that. It's good that they're regulating it. I think it's probably easy to take advantage of gamers in this because they've sort of got you bent over a barrel with it. So
well, yeah, and the target people that typically play these games at a professional level are usually younger, people who perhaps wouldn't expect to earn a load of money, so therefore will go, oh, imagine, what's your dream? To play video games all day? Well, look, we can offer you that for £1 an hour. Yeah. And I go, all right, I'll do that. But yeah, I think you're right. It's good with regulation. But go on.
I think it's good just to get that bit of standard, or start to get a bit of a standard in play. Like they've got a year, so you've got a bit of security there as well. You've got a year. You're going to earn 50 grand. You actually see the royalties as well. I think it's a great thing. And I mean, it's a similar. I hate to go back to football, but everyone goes, you get paid a fortune to kick a ball around. Well, they're getting paid a hell of a lot just to sit on their arse and play games. So that's what it sounds like. The pots are huge, to be fair, but you know what? I sometimes look at that and I think, do you know what? I'm actually reasonable at Overwatch, or I think I am. And I actually come up against people that are reasonable, and I go, good grief, I cannot get near you. Like, you are that good. And I've seen some good Overwatch streamers as well, and they almost turn it on whenever they want and just be ridiculous. So if you're good at that, you're good at it. Earn your money. It's good that they're making them retire, save for their retirement as well, so they don't just absolutely chuck it. I think it's a good thing.
It sounds like more of a proper career, doesn't it? Rather than like a pipe dream that a teenager might have when they're in school. Like when you've got things like health insurance, which is obviously a big deal in the United States, and retirement savings plans. I did read it in another source, and I can't cite it, so I didn't want to include it in like the rundown. But that they were going to be. They had to help find the players' dwellings in the cities as well. I don't know whether that is true. Maybe someone can correct that. But for whatever reason, seeing this kind of approach, this more regulated and more, professional approach almost, kind of has me actually quite interested in the Overwatch League than any of the other sort of esports that are out there. Paper, has this got you sniffing at this at all? Just hearing how, reasonably well they're going to be treating their players?
Yeah, no, I do think that it's good that they're going to be treating their players well. I still have some reservations about it in terms of you get a year's contract, but then what happens after that year? You're putting towards your pension for that 1 year, and then suddenly you're like dropped at the end of that year, and suddenly your whole world is crashing down, and then you're back in McDonald's. There's no protection, no parachute, should I say, and the it's because usually 9 times out of 10 these are young kids going into it, and so suddenly they've been exposed to this sort of world, and then suddenly you don't want them to suddenly just be dropped on their arse, and then it causes all sorts of mental health issues and stuff like that, and you just want to make sure that these players, it's right, they've got regulations in, and it's definitely the step forward, but you don't, it'll be 30-40-year-old blokes that are probably putting these teams together. they'll be fine because they'll just be like, I'm going to drop poor old 17-year-old Johnny and replace him with 15-year-old Billy. And 17-year-old Johnny's suddenly gone from earning £38,000 minimum with all the add-ons to suddenly going to McDonald's and being on 14,000. And it's a big drop. I want to make sure that post these players getting dropped, that they are sort of looked after a bit. I'm not saying money for them, but just make sure that there's some sort of like counselling and just make sure that they can hit the real world, basically.
It's not fucking Alcoholics Anonymous. Jesus, you get sacked to find another job.
I get where you're coming from, but in any other, that can happen with any other job or career you go to, can't it? Like you could get dropped from your job, or we could all get dropped from our jobs, and we've been in the same situation. Like this it is the nature of working for a living, and when you go to a career, if you don't perform, you could potentially be lost or put out of a job. So it's no different from any other job. If I get sacked tomorrow, I don't expect them to go, well, you know what, App's going to give you some counselling to make sure you can get over this. I'll probably be elated if I'm honest, but then the true reality will hit me, and I think, right, these bills ain't getting paid, and me sitting here recording these podcasts unless someone sponsors us, like I said earlier. I can see what you're saying, because it'll be a little bit more of a glamorous world to suddenly fall out of, but that applies to maybe not the glamour, but certainly earning the money can apply to any career. I guess you've just got to make sure you're one of the better ones at it. Right, I've got some data here which shows what game has performed best in the UK physical sales charts from January until June. So it's half one, H1, whatever you want to call it. And we're going to play a little game to see which one of you guys can guess the top 6 games. To decide who goes first, so you can get a guess in each round, and whoever gets to go first could win it potentially in 6 rounds to 0. But I need you to answer this question, and the first one to say the correct answer wins. Do not shout it because you'll burst my eardrums. And I already had that at Dunkirk last night. Nolan's bloody loud films, smashing eardrums. But here's the question. So the first one to say the correct answer wins. What will be the percentage increase of an annual PlayStation Plus subscription when the new pricing comes in? Yep. So you'll be going first. Sorry, Paper, but you were sleeping there.
Just in case.
Okay, so starting at number... I'm hoping none of you are cheating or have looked at it. Maybe you did, in which case, well done. But starting at number 6, what do you think the 6th best-selling game was, Logan, of the year?
Fuck me.
I didn't want to start at the top. I thought I'd start at the bottom. That's
annoying because my brain's working the other way round. 6th most... I'm going to go with Mario Kart.
Okay. Paper, do you want to take a punt at what perhaps was 6th?
FIFA. Still sells
both incorrect.
FIFA ain't out yet. Shit.
No, but I mean, it could have been last year's one still selling, I guess. We know how that works. Some games like that sell all year round, don't they? Is there any point in me doing another round? I don't think any of you are near it. One more time.
You've tried it and gone, this ain't going to work.
One more guess each. So, Logan, you go first, Logan. One more shot at it. I don't know why there's 6. I don't know why it only showed me 6, but this is what they gave me.
It's annoying me that there's 6. I don't know why. PlayerUnknown Battleground.
No physical sales on that, so
I'll
be tracked. Paper.
I'm going to say this one, but I think it's actually higher in the list, and actually I think it might be 1 or 2, but I think Crash Bandicoot.
Well, the unfortunate one about that is that was released in July. This only covers January to June, so I'll give it away. It was getting painful.
Cut this. It's been an absolute abject failure.
Number 6 was Resident Evil 7 Biohazard from Capcom. So that's what you're dealing with at that low down. Number 5, Logan, have a guess. Could be a game you've mentioned, might not be. I'm not giving you any clue either way, but don't rule out games that you've said. would be my
Oh,
advice.
see, now, is that a clue or is that...
No, it's not. It's just that if you've said it, I'm not going to go, oh, no, but that's number 2. So you may have accidentally said it beforehand. I can't remember what you said now.
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Paper?
Zelda.
Both wrong. You're only going to get one guess on each one because it's taking too long.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. So that's at number 5. Number 4, Logan.
Hey.
Could be 0-0 stalemate here.
Yeah, well, trying to think. Battlefield 1.
Good guess. Paper?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
It's FIFA 17.
Ah!
Still
I can see where this is
lurking.
going now. Again, my brain's tried to overcomplicate it, and all of a sudden we've got FIFA and CODs showing up. So keep it to basics. Basically, is the answer.
Number 3, Logan.
Good grief. Let's go with Overwatch.
Paper?
Horizon Zero Dawn.
Ding, ding, ding. It is Horizon Zero Dawn at number 3.
That is annoying, isn't it?
Paper's got, you just kept saying it until it come up, and then it did.
Oh, it's bound to. That's the thing. It's bound to come up.
Deary me. Right, number 2, Logan. See if you can pull it back.
I'm gonna... the one that's let me down before, Mass Effect Andromeda.
Paper?
Zelda.
Both wrong. It's Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands.
I was going to say Ghost Recon Wildlands for like 5 or 6, and I thought, nah, it's not going to get him for that. And it comes up at like 3. That is a joke.
Number 2. Unbelievable. Right. Number 1. Logan, you have to get this, otherwise it's a paper victory. What is going to be your guess for number 1?
What, my top selling game of first half of the year?
Yeah. Physical sales.
Zelda. It's not going to be.
Definitely not, because there's not enough consoles sold for that. It's going to be something both cross-platform, so something like Battlefield 1.
Nope. You can't get a point for this, but I'll give you one more guess each. You've both played this and got it. Maybe not. I think you both have got this still.
Destiny the Collection?
No.
Overwatch.
No. Honestly, tons of hours you've both put in this.
Rocket League?
No. Quite old.
Can't think what I've played.
Yeah.
It never stops selling.
Hearthstone.
No.
Physical copies.
Yeah. It never stops selling this game.
Yeah,
For good reason. Yeah, I'll give it away.
Go on.
Grand Theft Auto 5.
I said GTA 5.
Oh, I didn't hear you. That muffle.
Fucking hell.
Overrun it. But there you go. So that's the top selling game in the UK for 2017.
That was unbelievably painful.
Yeah, probably will make the cut though. So that's what we'd like to put in there. Yeah, absolutely. Zelda was mentioned a few times there, but I think it's about time we had a little bit of Nintendo Switch chat. It's been out a while now. Mr. Piper, I wanted to gauge your experience with the hybrid console. What have you been up to on it? How are you finding the tech, and are you TV mode or handheld?
So
person?
I've got
Christ.
Probably. I've got Zelda, Mario Kart, and Splatoon 2.
Yeah.
All fantastic games. I'm a handheld person. The tech works seamlessly. Though, I'm just finding I'm not getting pulled into it as much as I thought I would be.
Yeah.
So, and I love the fact that I can pick it up and put it down and it goes on charge, and it's a bit like picking up an iPad. But and all the games are really good. It's just, I don't know, there's just it feels like there's something, I don't know what, maybe missing a little bit. Maybe it feels sometimes a little bit too simplistic in comparison to the other consoles out there. But
do you mean in terms of the games, or do you mean like like just how it works and.
Maybe the games, and maybe that might be my own fault for going like Mario Kart and stuff too. Like they're great games, and even Zelda and stuff like that. But like Zelda should be the type of game that's pulling me back and back and back. I've played it and it pulls you back, but if I don't pick it up within a couple of days, it's nothing even in my ear saying you need to finish the story. You need to finish the story, like other games do. So I don't know. I love it, and I think it's definitely where we're going console-wise in terms of being able to just take our games on the go with us, because that's definitely a plus. The battery needs a bit of work, but it's a step in the right direction. It's a bit like I look at like the Nintendo Wii. It was the right steps, and then suddenly now we've got you can have interactivity, and it's probably the steps that led to VR and stuff like that. So it's the right step. Where we go next, I don't know, but I'm glad I got it. And there's going to be forward to things like Mario Odyssey coming out on it. So there's definitely some good games. I would definitely recommend buying it if you don't have it, if you can get one. But it's not something at the moment that's sort of making me come back every day and play, unlike maybe some games. And that might just be because the right game yet hasn't fully popped up for me. But we shall see.
Yeah, I'm having a similar issue as well. Like even with Zelda, which I loved, I had that on release day one with the Switch, and it came out the same week as Horizon, I believe, which came out maybe a couple of days earlier. And I was thinking, right, Horizon's most likely going to get bumped, and then I'm going to play Zelda and have to go back to Horizon. But the opposite happened. I carried on with Horizon, finished that, and then like the review for Zelda has only just gone up in the last 2 weeks, but that's how long it's taken me to complete it. It is a long game, but it was because I wasn't playing it. Like I'll play it once a week, maybe tops, and I don't know what I can't. Like you, I can't put my finger on exactly why I don't want to sit there and play it all the time. Like Splatoon's great, Mario Kart's great, Zelda was brilliant. I'm looking forward to Mario Odyssey. I'm even looking forward to Mario and Rabbids almost. That looks like it could be good fun.
Yeah.
But I just, for some reason, I've been drawn back to the PC or back to the PlayStation or even the Xbox on the odd occasion. I just can't. It's become a secondary console, and I think that's the way to position it. I don't think I could recommend someone to, get this over having a PC or a console, to be honest, because the amount of third-party support you get with those other platforms is, dwarfs it. But as a little, added extra, it's great. It's great to have. Logan, I know you've been lurking on this Switch. You've laid down your terms, £300 UK pound bundle, and they have appeared. But I think, I don't know, maybe to your frustration, the stock seems to have run out almost immediately. And my question is that the only thing that's really stopped you from pulling the trigger, is the fact you haven't been able to pull the trigger because there's been none there to pull on?
Partly. I think if it would have been available, like I reckon if I'd have been in Tesco doing my shopping and I could have just picked one up then and just took it home, I'd probably have one sitting here right now.
With the same problem.
With the same problem, yeah. I'd probably say that I'm one of the most likely people to pick something like this up. I'm not really, or haven't historically been, like a handheld gamer. I haven't had a DS or a 3DS or any of that. I didn't get a PS, whatever it was, and it's never really been my thing. But I play a lot now since I've had my iPad, and I quite like that, and I've sort of grown accustomed to it. And I often sit there with my iPad playing mobile games on it. So I think it fits in with what I want to do. I do quite want to sit there. I'd quite like to sit there either on a sofa or in bed playing something. But I think in a similar way that you both sit there and go, I'm not massively drawn to it all the time. I think I've got the same problem in that if I wanted to go and get one right now, not to brag, I could go and get one. There's nothing stopping me other than the fact I go, well, is there that draw there? Is that game there that I actually really want to sit there and play? And I think I was a bit pumped for Zelda because I've never historically been a Zelda player, and I thought this sounds like it's really worth getting into and having a go at. But I feel like I'm a bit daunted by the length of that game. I think that scared me off a little bit because at the moment I don't seem to have that stamina required to see these things through, and I just think, right, well, I'll get that, and that'll be a waste because I won't see it through. I'm not in that mindset at the moment, and multiplayer games like Mario Kart and Splatoon don't have this kind of multiplayer support that I'm looking for or that I'm used to. So those things combined, I think, are a bit of a problem for me. But me and Jodie quite like to play Mario together. So I think once that's out, and if you can do co-op Mario on it, I think that will be the leap that probably pushes me into it. But I think I would, to some eyes, I would have it if I could get it and it was readily available. But I'm not going to go that extra mile for it, basically, at the moment.
No, because to find one, you know, at the £300 with a game is a scramble. Like, you have to be there in the first few hours and order it and whatnot. Because even when you tried to get yours paper, you had to wait 3 weeks, didn't you? You just sort of had to pre-order it on the understanding it would come at the end of the month at some point. So it's certainly not been easy to get hold of them. And like I said, we've been, both me and Paper have been struggling to put some really good sessions in, which is strange in itself. And although I'm playing sort of probably about 60 on the telly and 40% handheld, I'm not taking it anywhere. It's just I'm taking it out the dock to play if the telly needs to go on, or if I don't want to sit in the office room, if I want to go to bed and play it. It's the only reason I'm doing it. And the reason I'm not taking it anywhere is because those bloody cloud saves aren't there yet. So if you lose that thing, I've lost that Zelda save, and I was like, well, I can't be risking that. Especially when I haven't done it. Well, imagine being like 90% through the story and then like 50 hours and then that gets lost, and you go, well, where's that Reggie? And he goes, that's gone on the device. And you go, what are you doing? Why is Alan getting involved doing your cloud saving? Why has he got his feet up there? Tell him to get that sorted.
I don't understand why in so many basic ways. I think that's what fucks me off more than anything, is that they do some great stuff, but then you just go, get them basics right, and they go, no.
That app, like, I don't know if you've used the apps, but that
I put it on once and switched it off. But
single worst multiplayer app. Like, shit that you have to use an app for multiplayer anyway. But when Adkins were trying to set up a game, when you go to the lobby and you want to play with other people, you can't set up a room to talk in the app. The only time you can set up a room in the app on Splatoon, I don't know whether it's changed or whether we looked at it, was when you created a private party.
Also, Comedy Brothers are lurking here, so they quite well could have missed it. Let's get that out there. Disclaimer.
So you left that party. It's not
left them to their own devices.
Like you can set up a call within that app. Just for, like, you saying, oh, let's set up because we're going to go on Splatoon. You literally have to go to a certain section within the Splatoon game, and then that registers the app and says, oh, yeah,
syncs it up.
And it's like, it's just a bit crap because like, we can't go off and if I suddenly be like, I want to go and go to the shop to just trade up, get a new gun or something like that, I have to come to the party because I've left the lobby. It doesn't link up. So
you have to stay in that lobby no matter what, otherwise you break your sync with the
Yeah,
comedy brother.
So I'll be back, and you play your game, and I'll come back to the next one. I can't do any of that. I have to go. Oh, I've got to go. I want to go. We'll have to grieve afterwards. It's just not intuitive. It just doesn't do the basics.
Archaic.
Yeah. Did the voice chat work? Okay, because I know there was. Or did you try the voice chat? I should ask first before trying to get an opinion out of you.
That was the voice chat.
So you use the app to do the voice chat, essentially. So you can. So basically, there was a lot of fuss made about the voice chat system, saying, "Oh, you got to have all these extensions and wires and shit." But my understanding is, if you just want game chat to come through your phone, you use the app and it works fine. It's only if you want game audio and your party chat to go through your earphones. That's when you got to put all the wires in. But for me, I never do that. I always have the chat in my earphones and your game audio on a different output somewhere, so that it doesn't overrun each other.
Just had my phone next to me on loudspeaker, and I just could hear Adkins come out of that.
Right. Bet you love that.
It shouldn't be a problem that you get in this day and age. It really shouldn't.
Well, that's him not having the earphones, though, and if he had his earphones in like today, then there would be no worry. We're on loudspeaker at the moment, Krog, and that's what we've been reduced to.
Oh, is that... What?
that's what's occurred in the technical
Fuck
area.
off. What are we doing?
I don't know.
Got two people sitting here with podcast mics, and then some Wally with a phone on loudspeak.
This is Dimp Digital Unplugged for you. Right, one more subject, and then we'll let everybody go. But I wanted to end on this little mobile game that people seem to be playing, and I think Chappers maybe initially tabled to everyone. It's called Reigns. I've not played this. Logan, I know that you have. I've tried to get a decent explanation of how this works or what happens. I still, maybe I've misread it, but I don't be understanding what we're offering here. So I need to, for everyone that perhaps hasn't listened to it, what on earth is this game? How does it work? Who perhaps would like it?
It's really basic, and I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think there's an awful lot of. It's not.
It doesn't deserve this slot, is what you're saying. The main event of the Unplugged session.
Yeah, I don't know how it's. Basically, you're the king, all right, and people come to you, and you need to make decisions, right? You make a yes or a no decision. Is ultimately what it boils down to. And
these people are people from within your kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, or it could be anyone. It could be someone comes to you and says you're being attacked, or whatever it is. Yeah. So people come to you and go, "This has happened. What we're going to do?" Or you've got a message from such and such. What you're going to do? And it gives you two options. And you have to choose it. And the idea is to keep your people, your army, the church, and your money all in balance. But not to give any of them too much power or too little, because otherwise they either overthrow you or take over. Right. So it's a constant balancing act. It doesn't give you necessarily clear instruction as to. It will give you a hint as to what might change or what might be effective. It doesn't necessarily tell you if it's positive or negative. So each choice has an impact, and the idea is to stay in power for as long as possible.
Right, I got you.
But there's loads of modifiers. There's loads of things you can get things like clarity, which actually tells you what gets buffed and what gets negative, and it's you're just swiping left and right. That is all the game is. But it's you just making decisions, and sometimes you do something and you go, right, how's that happened? And random shit will happen, and you get different cards, if you like. It's almost like a card game.
That's what was putting me off. I heard this card being mentioned, and I thought, hang on, I thought I was just talking to people, and then there was a mention of, I don't know, as soon as I hear cards, I think Hearthstone, and I got, right.
No, the way that I see this is imagine a pack of cards with scenarios that come through, right?
Like Trevor's pack of cards last night.
Yeah, like Trevor. And you pick the next card up, and you make a decision on that, and then you can get different cards in that pack that are shuffled in it. So the next one you pick up might be something else. It's like £3. It's not going to break the bank. It's almost the price of 3 fucking Snickers bars now. It's just like ridiculous. But
putting those details into that store though, I don't like. It's the effort of doing that.
What do you mean? Oh well, mine's just fingerprint done. Yeah, it's too easy. If anything, it just makes the decision for you. All you got to do is hold a finger in place and it goes done.
Yeah, fuck.
Instant regret. It's alright, it's a good little laugh for £3. It's quite addictive though. Like, it's annoyed me. My best was 50 years, and I text Hall and I could tell he was annoyed. He wouldn't say it, but he was annoyed that I beat him. I know he's now on 55 years that he's lasted, and that is a botherance.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I now need to beat that.
Yeah. Paper, have you played this, or looked at it, or seen it?
Yeah, I got it. I played about 4 games of it. And it's a game. To be honest, is a 3-minute game. It's a toilet game. That's the best way to describe it.
You don't mean shit. You mean as in when you're on the shitter, that's perfect for a few minutes, to then pick up and put down again.
One of those that you're like, oh, I'll play a game of this, or I'm sat on the train and I'm on the platform and I've got 5 minutes to my next train. You can easily get in a game quite happily in that period of time, and you don't need. And the good thing about it actually is you don't need Wi-Fi connection or internet.
Ah,
play it in out of connection, which is always great for any game, mobile game, should I say? So yeah, it's just about swiping. It's a good little game, £3. I can see why it sits at that price tag. It's quite expensive for a mobile game, but it's good fun, and they're probably riding with it at the moment because it's doing quite well, and they can get that kind of model. In about a year's time, it'll be half price if that. So, it's good. It's a good laugh, but I wouldn't go around screaming about it. It's like one of those games. Have you played that? Yeah, this is my score. It's basically like it's like a Flappy Bird, basically.
Yeah, who's got the biggest cock and lasts the longest? Logan, how long did your 50-year reign last in human time? Was it, half hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes? How long?
It basically every time you do make a decision, a couple of years pass.
Right. It doesn't take too long then.
Yeah, like probably 5 minutes.
Okay.
It's
right.
not.
So it's not like a big investment like that bloody lifeline that you gave me.
You don't need to.
It's about like say something like the clergy turned up and they want you to invest in their new cult. Do you want to? And it says yes, no, and you just swipe whichever way, and and it's just it's like a deck of cards with loads of different scenarios that keep coming up, and you just keep in line, as Krog said, and try to.
There you go then. Who says that we don't cover mobile? So even that's got a sniff in on this session 0 of Unplugged. Right. Let's call it, lads. Yeah. I think that's enough. That's all the subjects covered off. Anyone that's listening or watching, if you want to catch any more of our content, head over to youtube.com/Dimp Digital, or for our audio-only podcast version, then you can subscribe to Dimp Digital Unplugged on any good WhatsApp app. Podcasting app, I should say. WhatsApp won't have it on there. Not yet, anyway. But that has everything as well. So if you don't want to go on YouTube, or you want to just listen whilst you're on the train, or that's the perfect way to do it. Everything will be posted on there. If you want to keep abreast of any announcements, which we never do, but you can just follow us at Dimp Digital on Twitter, and like our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Dimp Digital. Finally, he would murder me if I didn't mention this to Dave, but our written content is over at medium.com/Dimp Digital. So it's a real mixed bag if you want to get hold of us, all sorts of avenues, but probably the best stuff we do is Dave's articles. They're long form, so be ready to read, but they're very good, very informative on the subject. Or their subject is typically Destiny 2, so if you don't like that, maybe not your bag. That's it for now, though. Game over. It's goodbye from Logan.
See ya.
It's goodbye from Paper.
Toodaloo.
It's goodbye from me, Apps. Thanks for your time, and ta-da.
Hello.
What's all this slamming about?
Shit audio. Huh?
The Krog.
I fucking dropped my phone, didn't I?
Cool. Shatterer. Oh. Little echo, but nothing too bad. Oh, fuck off, box sets. Right. Both ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. Hello and welcome to session... Oh, can't he now?
Oh, the Rust Merchant.
Hello and welcome... Right.